What about Aung San Suu Kyi? In Myanmar, they call her the hero of democracy, the lady, the one who spent 15 years under house arrest so that Myanmar, her country, would one day have democracy. She formed Myanmar's first civilian government in 2015. Analysts outside the country say Suu Kyi is not all about self-sacrifice, but her country loves her. In 2020, just a few months back, more than 70% of Myanmar's voters braced the pandemic to vote Suu Kyi back to office, to be the leader. Less than 3 months on, she, along with the country's democratic future, have been detained. What does this coup d'etat mean for Aung San Suu Kyi? Experts say it is the end of her political career. Suu Kyi is the daughter of Aung San, the man who led Burma to the brink of independence in the 1940s. She was just 2 years old when her father was killed. She attended school in India. She studied at Oxford and accidentally entered politics in 1988. For decades, she shouldered the dreams of her father, building up a free Burma. She survived detention, house arrest. Her countrymen put her on the same pedestal as Havel, as Lech Walesa, as Nelson Mandela. Though Suu Kyi never really compared herself to Gandhi, his photo hung on the wall of the house in which he was detained for the better part of 2 decades. In 2015, Aung San Suu Kyi finally had her shot to steer Myanmar into democracy. It was a remarkable story so far, but she chose to make exceptions to the country's democratic progress. When Myanmar's military orchestrated a genocide in the Rakhine state and forced millions of Rohingya Muslims to flee their homes, the leader, the democratic leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, looked the other way. She did little to stop the atrocity. Her indifference was seen as betrayal by her supporters outside her country, also by the Nobel Committee that had awarded her the Peace Prize in 1991. The award that made her one of the world's most prominent dissidents, the face of human rights. But Suu Kyi ended up as one of the biggest challengers of human rights in her own country. She defended the army against charges of genocide. She said the military was, quote-unquote, exercising the rule of law in Rakhine. In 2018, she described the generals in her cabinet as, quote-unquote, rather sweet. In 2019, she went to The Hague. She stood in front of the International Court of Justice and defended the genocide as a legitimate military operation against what she calls terrorists. She traded her goodwill to be in the good books of her country's military. 3 years on, the very same military has imprisoned her. The coup marks the end of her career, and we can give you 3 reasons why we say this. Number 1 is age. It is not on her side anymore. She's 75 years old already. Number 2 is health. There are questions about her health. And number 3 is trust. The military, the all-powerful military of Myanmar, does not trust Aung San Suu Kyi anymore. As we speak, the generals have taken control of this country. The constitution allows the state of emergency to go on for 1 year. The military has no plans of handing the baton back to parliament before that. So 1 year is as good as done. And after that, if they want to continue the facade of democracy, the military will obviously help its proxies come to power. They may not want Aung San Suu Kyi to be the future of Myanmar. While the world is campaigning for democracy in Myanmar, they are unlikely to campaign in favor of Suu Kyi specifically. She has lost the mystique of self-sacrifice. She was once the face of resistance against the military, but then she became one of its staunchest spokespersons. If the 2 decades of house arrest shaped Suu Kyi's political career, the current detention is likely to put an end to it. She had famously written, and let me quote, very powerful lines, "The only real prison is fear. The only real freedom is the freedom from fear." Well, her fears of being in the military's bad books may have cost Aung San Suu Kyi her freedom and political career. We'll keep track of what happens next. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.